We're going to do about a 50-minute yoga class today. The only prop that you'll need is a yoga strap, and if you don't have a yoga strap at home, that's okay. You can use a hand towel, a regular belt, like the tie to your robe, anything like that. Basically, we're going to use it to loop around our foot, so anything that's going to help you to reach closer to your foot while keeping your spine long. So just go ahead and sit, whatever that is, to the top of your mat. Please make sure you're listening to your body today. I will give some modifications, but please don't do anything if it doesn't feel right for you. And then please make sure you've checked with the healthcare provider before starting a new exercise routine. So let's go ahead and start laying on our backs on our mats. And have your knees bent, feet flat to the floor. And just place one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest. You can close your eyes here if that feels right for you. And just begin to bring awareness into your body, into your breath. Just take note of how you're feeling right now. Beginning to deepen your breath a little bit as you inhale, making it slightly longer. And then exhaling all of the air out. Again, deep inhale through your nose. And exhale out your nose. This time as you inhale, really feel your belly under your hand expand. And then feel it move up into your chest. And then as you exhale, feel it coming from your chest and then your belly. A little further this time. Inhale, belly, chest, throat. And then exhale from your throat, chest, belly. Inhale, belly, chest, throat. Exhale, throat, chest, belly. Continuing to breathe like this. Your breath should be the same length, so the inhale and the exhale match. We're going to try and maintain this 3-part breath our entire practice. So every movement will be assigned to a breath. I'm trying to just let one breath flow right into the other, like there's no beginning and end. And inhale, belly, chest, throat. Exhale, throat, chest, belly. One more before we start to add some movement. Okay, so now I would like you to take your hands and place them to the front of your hips. We all have these little hip bones that you can probably feel at the front of your body. And we're going to play around with sort of moving that around today and focusing on the position of our pelvis. So here, when we're laying on our back, we should have a neutral spine, so a neutral pelvis. So what that means is that your low back should gently lift up off the floor, just enough that you can slide a couple fingers under there. So if you can, if your back is pressed down into the floor, take your hip bones and move them down slightly so that they're coming closer to your thighs, and that should cause that little lift in your back. Now going the opposite way, think of like sticking your bum out and moving your hip bones all the way down, and you get a large arch there in your back. We want to find somewhere in the middle. So play around with that for a second, and then maybe lift your hips up towards your low ribs, like you're scooping your tailbone under, feeling your whole back pressed down to the floor really gently, and then moving your hips again towards your thighs and feeling that larger curve in your back. Just do that maybe 2 or 3 times, and then bring it back to like a neutral position. From here, trying to maintain that neutral position in our spine, hug your right knee in towards your chest. And now, taking your strap or whatever you're using in place, wrap it around the ball of your foot and extend your right leg up towards the ceiling. So still warming up here. So we don't want to come to our max stretch, maybe like 80%. I'm just breathing here. On your next exhale, you can extend your left leg down the mat. But let's find muscle engagement in that leg. So we're not just letting it flop around down there, but pressing your thighs, particularly your inner thigh, down to the floor so that your knee and your toe are pointing right up to the ceiling. Still have that little curve in our low back. One more breath here. And from here, we're going to turn our thigh bone in the hip socket so that your toes point out to the right, and then lower your leg any amount to the right, but we want to keep our left hip grounded. So we don't want to come over so far that you start twisting, that your whole hip comes up. So still pressing down the left thigh, flexing that foot. One more breath here. Bringing your leg back up through center, neutrally rotating it. Take your strap in the left hand, put your right hand out to a T or maybe a goalpost, and we're going to bring our right leg up and over the midline any amount. So it's probably not going to come all the way down to the floor. We want to keep that bottom leg engaged, keeping our spine neutral. Probably feeling a bit of a stretch on your outer hamstrings here. One more breath. Inhale your leg back up through center. Release the strap and then lower it all the way down to meet the left leg. Alright, for a moment here, hug both knees into your chest. Now when you hug both knees into your chest, your low back will flatten to the mat a little bit. You can gently rock from side to side, massaging your sacrum. And bring your feet back flat to the floor. Find that neutral spine again. And then we're going to extend our left leg up towards the ceiling. So reaching your heel up, flexing your foot, and then wrapping the strap around the ball of your foot. Breathing here. And again, coming to like 80% of the stretch. It doesn't need to be, your max as far as you can go. We're just beginning to move. In your next exhale, you can extend your right leg down the mat, again finding muscle engagement in that leg. So as if you were standing on it, toes and knees pointing up to the ceiling, that inner thigh sitting down, outer hip hugging in. Taking your strap into your right hand, or left hand, we're going to turn the leg in the hip socket, so our toes now point up to the left, and then allow it to open out to the left, keeping our right hip grounded. So don't come so far that you start to see this hip pop up. One more breath here. Bringing your leg back up through center, neutrally rotating it in the hip socket. Taking your strap in your right hand and then allowing your leg to come across the midline and over to the right. Now this time your left hip will pop up a little bit, but that bottom leg is still engaged. And then from here, think of lengthening this left sit bone down towards your heel so that you're keeping your hips neutral, I guess on like a horizontal plane. Okay, inhale, bring your leg back up through center. Release the strap, and then gently bring that left leg all the way down to meet the right. All right, again, hugging both knees into your chest. Gently rock from side to side. And then begin, actually, never mind, we're gonna do one more thing. So extend both legs to the ceiling here. We're gonna do a little ab exercise, a little ab work. So extending your hands down by your hips. Exhale here, and inhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders up off the floor. From here, we're gonna inhale, exhale, lower your right leg to about a couple inches off the floor. Exhale, inhale, lower your left leg. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower right. Inhale, lift. Lower left. Inhale, lift. This time, bringing your arms out to the right side of your right leg. Exhale, lower your right leg. Inhale, lift. Bringing your arms to the outside of your left leg. Exhale, left leg. Inhale, lift. Again, switch. Right leg down. Inhale, lift. Switch. Left leg down. Inhale, lift. One more time each side. Exhale, right leg down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, left leg. Inhale, lift. Hug both knees into your chest. Gently rock from side to side. Okay, now beginning to rock from your tailbone to your shoulders, forward and back. Do this about 5 times, massaging your spine. And then on your last time, you can come up and over your legs, coming into all fours, or you can just sit up and swing your leg up the side. So, wrists are right underneath of our shoulders, knees right underneath of our hips, tops of our feet are flat down to the floor, and we have a neutral spine here. So we're going to exhale here. Inhale, coming into cow pose, so broadening across your collarbone, tailbone lifts up. This is like you're sticking your bum out, like you're taking those hip points we talked about and moving them closer to your thighs. So find length through your spine, broaden across your collarbone, like you're reaching your sternum forward. Take a breath here. And then exhale, chin to chest, belly button to spine, and now it's like your hip points are moving up towards your low ribs, pushing the floor away, tailbone lengthens down towards the back of your knees. Pausing here and cat, taking a breath. Your next inhale, moving back into cow. And exhale, cat. One more time, moving with your breath. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Inhale back through a neutral spine. We're going to tuck our toes under and then lift your hips up and back, pressing through your hands, coming into downward facing dog. So here we want a little bend in our knees so we can prioritize the length in our spine. Pressing down through our whole hand, maybe a little more into your thumb and index finger so that you can wrap your triceps in towards your face. Making space across your collarbone, melting your heart back towards your feet. And now those hip bones are moving towards your thighs, so you're lifting your tailbone up behind you. Two more breaths here. At the bottom of the exhale, look towards your hands and then walk your feet forward. So you're in a forward fold at the front of your mat. Bending your knees as much as you need to bring your fingertips to the floor. Feet should be hips distance apart and parallel to each other, so heel right behind your second toe. Fingertips come down right to the sides of your pinky toes. We're going to exhale here and inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, sometimes referred to as a halfway lift, but we're not going to lift all the way up to halfway. We're just going to keep our fingertips here on the spine on the floor, excuse me, and lengthen our spine, the crown of your head forward. We need space across your collarbone. And then exhale, fold. Again, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, staying all the way up, arms sweeping out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. So here in Tadasana, again, we want our feet hips distance apart and parallel to each other, lengthening your tailbone down. Again, see if you can feel if your hips are on a neutral plane. When you're standing, I kind of think of it as like a bowl of soup, right? We don't want the soup to spill out of the front if we're sticking our bum out, or the back if we're tucking our hips under. So hands by your side, hips neutral, broadening across your collarbone. Take a breath here. Inhale, arms sweeping out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. So pausing here in Urdhva Hastasana, I'm going to kneel just so that you can see my arms a little bit better. Our arms are shoulder distance apart, triceps wrapping in towards your face, palms facing together. And your hands are going to be slightly in front of your ears. That's going to keep us from overarching in that upper back. So we're keeping some containment here in your rib cage. So it's just standing back up. So inhale here, and exhale, forward fold. Bending your knees as much as you need to bring your fingertips to the ground. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms sweep out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, right back down, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms sweep out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Moving on a little bit, arms sweep out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. This time, exhale, bending your knees as much as you need to plant your hands down and step your feet back, plank pose. So we want that same neutral spine here, pressing down through your hands. Gaze is about a foot in front of your fingertips, reaching back through your heels. Tailbone lengthening down towards your heels. So we don't want our hips popping up. Shoulders right over top of our wrists. One more breath here. You're going to hinge forward slightly so your shoulders come over top of your fingertips. Keeping your elbows pointing back, your biceps will brush against your ribs. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. You can always put your knees down for that one. So point your toes back to the tops of your feet, come to the floor. Feet back, make sure your wrists are right underneath of your elbows. You're going to exhale here. Inhale, finding baby cobra. So lifting through your chest, your shoulders, your head. Tailbone lengthening back. Tops of your feet pressing down on the floor. Inner thighs wrapping up towards the ceiling. One more breath here. Exhale, lower back down. And your inhale, press up through all fours. Tuck your toes under, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pausing here for about 3 breaths. Lifting your tailbone up behind you, hip points moving towards your thighs. The bottom of your exhale, looking towards your hands, walk, step, maybe float your feet up. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, staying all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, right back down, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step it back, plank pose. Pause here. Exhale, chaturanga lowering all the way down. Inhale, baby cobra. Chest, head, shoulders lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, pressing through all fours, tucking your toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. One more breath here. The bottom of your exhale, look towards your hands, walk, step, or float your feet up. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, standing all the way up. Exhale, hips sink back, weight comes into your heels, Utkatasana, chair pose. So again, we want our spine long, and our pelvis will be neutral to the rest of our spine, but it will tip forward slightly because we're hinged forward. Arms extended, elbows long. One more breath. And exhale, forward fold. From here, grab opposite elbows for a moment. Just dummy sway from side to side. Releasing your hands. Exhale here. And inhale, stay all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. So come to face the long end of your mat. We're going to step our feet far apart. They should be approximately underneath your wrists, or you can imagine one of your leg lengths apart. So we're going to start with our thighs, our thigh bones neutral in the hip socket. So your feet are parallel to each other. Okay. From here, we're going to take your back heel and step it out slightly so that that whole leg turns in the hip socket. Okay, so then we're going to externally rotate our front leg so that we're now lined up, heel back to arch. You could draw a line from the heel to the arch of that foot. From here, bending that right knee right over top of our right ankle. So everybody put your hands again on your hip points here. And see that they're on the same plane horizontally. We don't want the front one often will kind of pop down. See if you can feel that they're on the same plane. And then our shoulders should be right over top of our hips. Your hips will slightly rotate towards that front knee, and that's fine. We don't want them square to the side of the mat. Let them twist a little bit if they need to. So inhale, arms out to your shoulder height. You can gaze out over that right fingertip. Breathing here, pressing down a little bit more into the big toe mound of that right foot, lifting from that inner right thigh so that knee is pointed right over top of our second toe. Keeping that back leg engaged, looking up on your quadriceps so the whole leg is still spun in. One more breath. Exhale, coming into side angle. Our right fingertips are going to reach toward the right. Place your elbow down to your right knee. Left hand comes up by your ear, palm facing down to the floor. Tailbone now lengthens down towards that back heel. So pressing down to that back foot, that whole back thigh is still spinning in. From here, lengthen that bottom arm, just straightening it. Stay lifted so you long here through your right side body. And then on an inhale, lift and straighten this right leg. So really lift up on that quadricep. Coming into Trikonasana, you can send that top arm up towards the ceiling. Breathing here. You can gaze up at the top hand. One more breath. And inhale back to Warrior Two. Exhale, hands to your hips, straighten your right leg, and then neutrally rotate both your legs so that your feet are parallel to each other. So from here, we're going to take a forward fold. Weight's going to shift a little bit more forward into the balls of your feet, so where like your toes, and then lift up on your quadriceps. Find the muscle engagement here before we fold so that we can really contain the stretch. So hands to your hips again. And this is where we're going to imagine that bowl of soup spilling forward. Inhale, press down through your feet, stand up really tall, and then exhale, pelvis tilts forward. And then you can bring your hands to your thighs, your shins, maybe to the floor. But first here, maintain length through your spine, like you're reaching your sternum forward. One more breath. Great. Bringing your hands back up to your hips, elbows point up to the ceiling so your collarbone is broad, pressing down through your feet, lifting through your quadriceps, coming back up to stand. All right, other side. So the first thing we're going to do is walk the heel of our right foot out so that that whole back leg is now spinning in, lifting up on that right quadricep. We're going to externally rotate our left leg from deep within our hip socket so that we're lined up, heel to arch here, then bending that left knee right over top of our left heel. Peek down, make sure that it's right over top of our heel and not going forward. Lengthening your tailbone down towards the floor, lifting up on your quadriceps again, putting your hands to your hips, making sure they're on the same plane horizontally and that you're not letting it drop forward. Okay, inhale your arms out to a T, shoulder stacked right over top of your hips. Look over that left hand and take a few breaths here. Relaxing your shoulders down away from your ears. Lifting your rib cage up and away from your sacrum, leaving space through your spine. One more breath. On your next exhale, reaching your left fingertips over to the left, placing your elbow down to your left knee. That right hand comes up by your ear, tailbone lengthens towards that back. Leg still lifting up on that quadricep, the whole leg still spinning in. Finding space through both sides of your body. Okay, we're going to exhale here and straighten that left elbow. And then inhale, press down through the toes of that left leg to straighten your left leg. Right hand goes up towards the sky, lifting on that quadricep here. Finding the muscle engagement, not just the stretch. Both sides of your torso are nice and long. Breathing here, maybe gazing up at that top hand. Exhale here, inhale back up to warrior two. Hands to your hips, pressing through that left foot, and then neutrally rotating your legs and your feet. We're going to do another wide-legged forward fold. This time, a few options. You can interlace your thumbs behind your back. You can interlace your whole hands, making sure that your palms stay together and you're not locking out your elbows. Or you can take that strap and hold it between your hands. So you pick the option that feels best for you. Standing up nice and tall, again, pressing down through your feet, lifting up through your quadriceps. Inhale here, exhale, forward fold from your pelvis. Weight comes a little more forward into the balls of your feet. Feet stay parallel, lifting up through your quadriceps. Think of your sits bones kind of pulling together under your bum. Two more breaths. Exhale here. Inhale, press down through your feet, lifting up through your quadriceps, come back up to stand. Hands to your hips, and heel toe your feet back together. All right, we're gonna come up to the top of our mat, feet hips distance apart. Hands by your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms sweep out and up, Urdhva Tadasana. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. An option to flow through your vinyasa or skip it and come right into downward facing dog. So stepping back to plank pose, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Finding length in your spine. Inhale, your right leg up and back, 3-legged dog. Just to hip height, we want our hips neutral on the same horizontal plane. So we didn't just let our right hip pop way up when we lifted our leg. Outer hips hugging in. And we're going to step that right foot forward to the inside of your right thumb. Okay? And just like mine did, maybe it doesn't come all the way up the first time, that's totally fine. But pausing here in our low lunge. So reaching back through that back heel. Your feet are on railroad tracks here. So they're hips distance apart and then spread out. So reaching back that back heel, pressing that thigh up. Outer hips hugging in, this front knee right over top of your ankle, broadening across your collarbone, so tensing up on your fingers. One more breath here. And then stepping it back, downward facing dog. Need another breath here. Inhale your left leg up and back, three-legged dog. Toes, knees pointing down, hugs, hips hugging in, thumbs tipping in. Okay. One more breath. And exhale, stepping that left foot to the inside of your left thumb. Pausing here in your low lunge, reaching back through that back heel. That back leg is straight, so really pressing that right thigh up into your thigh bone. Outer hips hugging in, tensing up on your fingertips a little bit. Making space across your collarbone. One more breath. And stepping it back to downward facing dog. Okay, we're going to build on that a little bit this time. So moving one breath to one movement. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, step it forward. This time, inhale, coming up, high lunge. So in our high lunge, feet are still railroad tracks here. Still reaching back through that back heel. Maybe a little bend in that back knee so you can lengthen your tailbone down so we're not overarching in our low back. Arms are in front of our ears but nice and straight, just like in Tadasana. Breathing here. One more breath. This time, exhale, we're going to hinge forward. Our hands are going to come back by our hips. So we now have a long line from the crown of our head to that back heel, and now that back leg can really straighten out. Breathing here. One more breath. Inhale, arms sweep forward and up. Exhale, bring them back down to the floor, framing that right foot. Step it back, downward facing dog. Breathing here. 2 more breaths. Okay, inhaling your left leg up and back, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it forward to the inside, that left thumb. Inhale, high lunge. Tailbone lengthening down, little bend in the back knee. Arms come forward to the ears so that your spine can stay long. That front knee is bent right over top of that front ankle. One more breath here. And then exhale, hinging forward, straightening through that back leg, reaching back through your right heel. Hands come down by your hips. Long line from the crown of your head back to that heel, broadening across your collarbone. Outer hip really hugging in here. One more breath. Inhale, hands sweep forward and up. Exhale, hands come down to frame that left foot and step it back, downward facing dog. Breathing here. One more breath. The bottom of your exhale, look towards your hands, walk, step, or float your feet up. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms sweep out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, hands to your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. All right, so bring your hands to your hips, feet hips distance apart. We're going to step our left leg back about 2 or 3 feet. And then we're going to point that whole left leg out to the left just a little bit, okay? So we can press down through the whole left foot and our whole right foot. Inhale here. lift up on your quadriceps, and again, from your hips, we're going to hinge forward slightly, and maybe you put a little bend in that right knee. We're reaching the crown of our head forward, our tailbone back, pressing down through that whole right foot. As you push into, gently pressing into the right toes, think of that right hip crease, gently pulling back. Outer hips really hugging in, really lifting up on your quadriceps here. Exhale here. Inhale, come back up to stand. Step your left foot forward, right foot back. So again, your right toes are now pointing out slightly to the right, but you still want to be able to press that whole foot down to the floor. Same thing with your front foot. It should be parallel to the long edge of your mat, so your heel right behind your second toe. Pressing down through your feet, looking up through your quadriceps. Outer hips hugging in. Hands can come right to your hips here. Inhale, stand up nice and tall, and then exhale, hinging forward from your hips. Spine's long, reaching out through the crown of your head. Pressing down through your feet, lifting up on your quadriceps. Pressing down a little bit into that left toe, and then gently pulling that left hip crease back. One more breath. And inhale, coming back up to stand. Stepping your right foot in to meet the left. Okay. Maybe shaking out your feet a little bit. All right, so next, you may or may not need your strap. So just have it like over top of your shoulder in case you need it. So beginning in Tadasana mountain pose, feet right underneath of your hips. Hands can come right to your hips. We're going to shift our weight over to that left leg, but hugging in that left hip, looking up on our left quadricep. We're going to lift our right knee up to hip height. Maybe you interlace your fingers along, like just under your knee. And breathe here. Next, this is where you may need the strap, so a couple of options. The fullest expression would be to take your index finger and your middle finger, wrap it around your big toe, making a circle with your thumb, and extend your heel forward this way. Okay, but we want to keep our spine really long. So if your spine can't stay long, you're going to take that strap, wrap it around the ball of your foot, and extend your leg forward. Okay, so your thigh is neutrally rotated in the hip socket. So your toes and knees are pointing out to the sky, hips hugging in, like your outer hips hugging in, and we want those hip points to be neutral again on a horizontal plane, so we didn't let this right hip pop way up. Inhale here, exhale, forward fold any amount over that right leg. It's challenging, maybe you won't fold very much. Inhale, back up, stand, and then gently with control, release the right leg. All right, maybe you need to shake out your left foot a little bit like I do. All right, other side, Tadasana mountain pose. Again, tossing that strap over your shoulder, hands to your hips. Take a breath here. Weight shifts a little bit into that right foot. Bring your knee up to hip height. From here, find that muscle engagement in your right leg, hugging your hip in, lifting up on your quadriceps. Interlace your hands, maybe just under your knee. And maybe you stay right here, and that's totally fine. Find what challenges you today, and then work on that. All right, maybe you take those peace fingers around your big toe, or maybe you take your strap around the ball of your foot. So the foot's coming straight forward. It's not abducting out to the side at all. Breathing here. And then exhale, forward fold from your hips over that front leg. Inhale, back up to stand. And then gently, with control, releasing that left leg. Okay, shake it out. Let's come back up to the top of our mat. You can release your strap. From here, let's walk our feet slightly wider than hips distance. Not too much further, but just slightly wider. Inhale here, stay up nice and tall, and exhale, forward fold, hinging from your hips. Bending your knees as much as you need to again, get those peace fingers, making a circle around your big toe. From here, you're gonna find length in your spine, and your arms are gonna engage to gently help you guide the crown of your head closer to the floor. So knees are bent, feet slightly wide in hips distance, spine's long. Breathing here. One more breath. Go ahead, release your toes. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step it back, plank pose. This time, exhale, chaturanga, lowering all the way down to the floor. And pause there. Maybe adjusting yourself on the mat if you need to. Okay. Extend your arms back by your hips. Bring your chin, maybe your forehead to the floor. You're going to press the tops of your feet down to the floor, and then think of lifting up on your quadriceps. They're going to lift. They're not actually going to come up off the floor, but they're lifting in that direction, and then tailbone lengthening down towards your heels. We're going to exhale here, and inhale, head, chest, neck, shoulders, and arms lift. Palms facing together towards the midline, pressing down to the tops of your feet, almost like you want all 10 toes to touch the floor. Tailbone lengthening back, inner thighs spinning up towards the ceiling. One more breath. And exhale, lower it back down to the floor. Bend your knees and then gently windshield wiper your legs from side to side. Great. Releasing your legs back down to the mat. Hands extended by your side. Exhale here. Inhale, head, neck, chest, arms lift. Pressing down to the tops of your feet. Inner thighs spinning up. Tailbone lengthening back. One more breath. And exhale. Lower it back down. Alright, this time, taking your hands shoulder distance apart, and then walking them back so your wrists are right underneath of your elbows. We're gonna stay on the tops of our feet. So still finding that same muscle engagement. So pressing down to the tops of your feet so much that your thighs want to lift up off the floor. Tailbone lengthening back. Gonna exhale here. Inhale, pressing up into upward facing dog. This is a back bend. Your tailbone is leaning towards the backs of your knees. Broadening across your collarbone, shoulders right over top of wrists. Maybe you can gaze up a little bit. Just the tops of our feet and our hands are on the floor. One more breath. Lifting from your inner thighs, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Lifting your tailbone up behind you. Just hip weights melting towards your thighs. On your next exhale, gently bring your knees down to the floor and come into Balasana, child's pose. So bringing your forehead down to the floor, knees wide, toes together, hips to heels. One more breath here. Inhale, walk your hands back up to a seated position, and then bring your legs in front of you. Coming into Tadasana, staff pose. So it may be beneficial if you have a block or a pillow or something you can sit up on. A lot of us are tight through our hips and our hip flexors. That would be helpful. You can just keep a little bend in your knees and then actually grab that strap again. So sitting up nice and tall, finding length in your spine. So your ear is over your shoulder, shoulders over outer hip. You're gonna loop that strap around the balls of your feet. Again, knees can be a little bit bent here. So straighten up through your spine, and then exhale, we're gonna hinge forward, but again from our hips. So our hip points are moving closer to our thighs as we hinge forward. Breathing here. One more breath. Keep elongating a little bit on your inhale, softening a little bit on your exhale. Go ahead, sit back up, release your strap, and then we're gonna open our legs out to the side. So any amount, it doesn't have to come very far, but we want to have our hips usually rotated in the hip sockets. So we don't want our toes like flopping in, or one that's really easy for me is just to let them flop out to the side. So knees and toes pointing right up to the ceiling. Really send energy out your heels. Sit up nice and tall here. And then again, exhale, forward fold. And maybe you only fold a very little tiny bit. That's okay. Walk your fingers forward and folding forward from your hips. And just breathing here, keeping those legs engaged, toes and knees pointing up towards the sky. So reaching out to the crown of your head, thinking of drawing across your collarbone a little bit and pulling your sternum forward. One more breath here. And inhale, gently walk your hands up, and then use your hands to gently bring your legs back together. Okay, we're gonna come down to our legs. And just gently lay down to the floor. Feet flat to the floor, knees bent. We're just gonna find one bridge pose here. So feet or hips is apart, heels right underneath of your knees. Press down to the backs of your arms, and before we even lift, think of wrapping your triceps under and walking your shoulder blades slightly closer together so you have space across your collarbone. We're going to exhale here, inhale, press down through your feet, lifting your hips up. Lengthening your tailbone down towards the backs of your knees, like you're scooping your tailbone under, lifting those front hip points up toward your low ribs. Press down through the backs of your arms to make space across your collarbone. And think of lifting your low back ribs away from your sacrum. Squeeze your outer hips and your inner thighs so that your knees stay pointed right over top of your second toes. One more breath. And exhale, hips lower back down to the floor. All right. Let's hug your right knee into your chest. And then externally rotate it so that your right ankle comes over your left knee. Staying here in a figure four stretch just for a moment. Maybe it'll feel right to you to lift that left knee toward your shoulder, interlacing your hands under your hamstrings, maybe up and over that chin. One more breath here. Exhale, release your left foot to the floor if it was lifted, and then release your right foot to the floor. Opposite side, starting with first hugging your left knee into your chest. And then externally rotating that leg so that you can cross your left ankle over your right knee. And then if you need a little bit more of a stretch, if you're not feeling this through your outer hip, you can bring that right knee up towards your right shoulder, interlacing your hands behind your hamstrings, or maybe up and over your shin. But feet flexed and gently opening that left knee out to the left. But still keeping your sacrum down to the floor, so still having that neutral spine. Alright, releasing that right leg down to the floor, and then gently releasing your left. So keeping our feet hips distance apart, we're going to bring our arms out to like a cactus or a T, and then gently allow your knees to fall over to the left. But again, keeping your feet hips distance apart. So you'll roll to the outer edge of your left foot, inner edge of your right foot. Knees will not stack. One more breath here. Just move back up through center. And then exhaling them over to the right. Again, feet and knees will not stack. So you'll come to the outer edge of the right foot, inner edge of the left foot. Back up through center. And then gently making your way to Shavasana, final relaxation pose. You can keep your knees bent and your feet flat to the floor if that feels better in your low back, or you can extend them down your mat. But take time to find a position here where you're not gonna fidget. So get out all the fidgets. Just allow your breath to be natural. Allow your body to feel heavy here on the mat. It's normal that thoughts will pop into your head, but see if you can sort of put them on hold for a moment. So acknowledge that they're there, and then just let them pass. Don't dwell on one thought for any particular amount of time. So just try to clear your mind and stay present right here in this moment. And we'll just stay here for a few more moments. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath. And begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then just gently hug your knees into your chest. Roll over to one side. And taking your time, press back up to a comfortable seated position. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed your practice. We'll take one more breath together before we complete. Inhale, arms reach out and up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Namaste. Again, thank you so much. My name is Joella with UMBC Rec. I hope you enjoyed your practice. I also teach a total body conditioning class at 6 o'clock on, Mondays, right? And then yoga is 6 o'clock on Thursdays. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed.